Hello everyone, it's Abigail here from Evening Star Astrology, and today I have a pick a card reading for you. We're going to be talking a bit about Mercury retrograde, and this spread is going to lay out some tips and tricks, some self-care ideas, if you will, to get through this period. And Mercury retrograde gets a lot of hype, both in astrological circles and mainstream media. And I should stop and say, if you've never heard the term Mercury retrograde before, basically, it just means that the planet Mercury appears to be moving backwards or in a retrograde motion through the sky. It's an illusion that has to do with speed and timing, but from our perspective here on Earth, it appears as if Mercury is moving in the opposite direction of everything else. And Mercury is a quick-moving planet. It can get through a whole entire sign within a couple of weeks when it's moving at its fastest. And Mercury is the messenger. It's all about communication and getting from point A to point B as fast as possible. So when Mercury goes retrograde, all of a sudden, the brakes are put on. Everything starts to slow down. Everything is not going as smoothly as normal. The thing is that mainstream media loves to hype up Mercury retrograde. They always talk about how you're going to send that email to the wrong person, or you're going to be late, so make sure you leave extra time, or don't sign legal documents. Which, avoid if you can during Mercury retrograde, because you might not notice typos and communication. But anyway, for most people, Mercury retrograde goes by completely unnoticed. But if you pay attention to your life, you may notice some small differences. And Mercury retrograde, most of the time, is just, you have a little bit more trouble putting your thoughts into words. You feel a bit more withdrawn or isolated or just a disconnect. Because like I mentioned, Mercury moves really fast, and when everything slows down, day-to-day things that normally have their own routine kind of struggle a little bit. It's kind of just harder, and you may feel more fatigued and drained from your normal routines. Right, so onto the cards. And first, I just want to say that self-care is important all the time. But I thought that this reading would be especially helpful because Mercury retrograde can really show us the importance of slowing down, taking time for ourselves, and being very intentional in our actions. So, if you've never seen a pick a card reading before, hello, welcome. Basically, the way this is going to work, I have 3 different piles, and I'll explain how to pick it in just a second. But once you've picked your pile, you'll go down to the description section, and I'll have timestamps for each of the readings. So as far as picking the cards, or your pile, I invite you to take a moment and take a few deep, grounding breaths. And as you take these breaths, notice if there's a pile of cards or a crystal on top that really speaks to you, that you just feel drawn towards. So over here we have pile number 1 with the rose quartz, pile number 2 with this smoky quartz, and pile number 3 with labradorite. And whichever one you feel most drawn to, I would encourage you not to just pick the one that you think has the prettiest crystal, but rather which one your intuition is telling you to pick. So after you pick your card, go ahead down to the description box, and there will be a timestamp there. Again, we have pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. And, more than one pile calling out to you. If so, totally okay. Please feel free to listen to any or all. And once again, if you don't really resonate with your reading, that's okay. It means the message was out there for someone else. And yeah. All right, let's get on to the readings now. All right, pile number 1, if you picked the stack with the rose quartz on top, this is your reading. And so for your cards, I'll lay them out. All right, so we start with the Queen of Cups, followed by 6 of Pentacles, the 5 of Swords reversed, and the Devil. All right, so the card that really jumps out to me first here is the 5 of Swords, and mostly because it's reversed, and it's the only one that is reversed in this reading. But the 5 of Swords is all about conflict and disagreement and just general unrest, especially related to communications. And with Mercury retrograde, this card is really telling me that like you feel like your needs are not being met right now. And whether those are emotional needs or physical, practical needs, or just like some validation or recognition, like those are not being met. And the devil is telling me that like you feel really trapped by your circumstances right now. And like you might feel like everyone else is out to get you and like you don't have autonomy in your life right now. Like you feel like you're just kind of stuck and there's no way out. And like, maybe a little bit of despair there as well. Or anger or rage or frustration or upset, that kind of family of emotions. And so what this card is telling me for like self-care for you to practice at this time is, starting with the Queen of Cups, this like beautiful lady. This is one of my favorite cards. I'm a little biased. But the Queen of Cups is all about emotional honesty and acceptance, intuition, and like compassion as well. And so in this reading, the Queen of Cups is really just saying like, you feel really bummed out right now. You feel really upset or frustrated or angry or like, there's like you feel like hopeless almost. The Queen of Cups is basically saying like, just sit with your emotions and you don't need to attach any more judgment to it than that. Just like radically accept in this moment, I feel really upset. I feel really limited. Or I feel like this person is not listening to me. And just kind of sitting with that. And, like normally I would encourage like journaling or something like that to help you out. But the Queen of Cups is really just about feeling. So, if journaling helps you out when you're like feeling low, yeah, go for it. But this one might just be like, kind of a sit and like cry and like just like sit there and like allow yourself to like express your emotions. Like if that means crying, if that means going for a run, like just however you need to channel your emotions, let them out. Don't continue to bottle them up. Like, like don't be like this little person. Like you don't want to feel stuck in your emotions. As far as like other self-care methods, because this card is really just saying that your needs are not being met right now. You maybe have tried to communicate it, maybe you haven't, maybe you've just been going a bit more of like a passive-aggressive route. But in one way or another, your needs are not being met through communication, because Mercury retrograde, in case we forgot. Basically, what the Six of Pentacles is saying here is, like, words aren't working, try actions instead. This can be a literal, like, gift giving of, something to make, like if you're having conflict with a person, and, there's a good chance that, like, their needs aren't being met as well. So maybe, like, you could give them something that would have their needs met. Or you would ask for some sort of compromise that might involve, like, an exchange of, like, a physical good of, like, I don't know. I'm thinking, like, noise-canceling headphones if your roommate is always loud and you want to go to sleep earlier. Like, instead of talking about it, like, doing something about it, if that makes sense. This could also be, an act of service, like taking on an extra, like, assignment to help your coworker, like, make their life a bit easier. Or working with your roommate to make a chore wheel. So instead of, fighting about the chores and, like, feeling frustrated about it, like, writing down who does what when. Just, like, doing that, showing a little bit of compassion and doing something that will help someone out, that might resolve the tension more than, continuing to circle and fight and all of that. In conclusion, is saying that, like, there's something going on in your circumstances that makes you feel trapped, it makes you feel like your needs are not being met, you're not being heard, etc. And the self-care tips for you are to try a different approach instead of, continuing to fight and just, like, talking in circles and, like, having the same argument again and again. Trying a different approach, maybe something that doesn't require words. And also to show compassion for yourself and others and understand that, like, your needs aren't being met. That's really frustrating. That's really upsetting. And, showing compassion for other people, like understanding that, everything might not be perfect for them either. And usually when people are acting out against you, it's a reflection of them, not of you. So having compassion for yourself and for others in their circumstance. I think that's all for this reading. If you liked this, if it resonated with you, please give this video a like. Feel free to subscribe and comment down below and let me know what you thought of this. All right, thank you, card pile number 1. That has been your reading. All right, so if you selected pile number 2 with the smoky quartz, this is your reading. So for your cards, we have the Knight of Pentacles, the Three of Pentacles, Seven of Swords, and Queen of Pentacles. Oh my gosh. All right, so the first thing that really jumps out to me here is obviously all the pentacles. Pentacles are all about like, you know, the practical, the physical, mundane, tangible, material. So these things have kind of been a focus for you as far as Mercury retrograde goes. Like you may be really focused on a new career pursuit or, you know, a new workout plan or diet or you know, rearranging your space, like something that's very much related that like you can see tangible progress in. It's not so much like emotional or mental, like it's very obvious in a physical and, for lack of a better word, like real way. So the Three of Pentacles is kind of about like new success, like things are, you know, kind of turning up, like they're starting to go well, which is really awesome. And Knight of Pentacles is like, you know, things have been going well because you're taking the steps and it seems to be working. Like, you know, it feels like you're doing everything right. But then these two cards make me a little bit wary, just because the Queen of Pentacles, like, when she's upright, she's all about, like, you know, responsibility, security, stability. Her home is, like, a safe place where she can prosper. Her bank account is impeccable, like, you know, got the savings account, the retirement, and enough money to provide for herself, anyone else that she needs to provide for. But she's reversed, so there's like a lack of stability regarding your physical body, your physical space, or your money. And then the Seven of Swords is about thievery and dishonesty. So I think like one of the most like literal and obvious interpretations of this is like, hold on to your money a little bit more tightly, don't invest or, you know, enter like a multi-level marketing scheme right now, like, but even like, you know, investing in like legal ways like the stock market or whatever, like perhaps be a little bit more careful and think critically before investing your money. So my self-care advice based on this reading is it's a very honest and practical and, you know, unfortunately kind of boring or unglamorous type of self-care. Like this reading is not saying like, yeah, you know, take that bath, do that face mask, like treat yourself kind of thing. This is more like do the work, put in the effort, and you know, this might be like, you might want to like journal or record your progress in some way because like there's definitely progress being made. I think that the important thing with the self-care is just like consistency and sticking to it. And so it's like, if you want to start a new career, like, you know, work, adventure, or whatever, you want to start saving or you want to start a new diet or a workout plan or like just take care of your body in general, that's awesome. Understand that like it will take work and consistency and constant effort. It's not just a one and done thing. And I think understanding that in relation to other things as well, like, you know, really like obviously like career and like physical body are represented here, but like relationships and understanding that self-care is not like a one-time quick fix, like you do a face mask and all your problems are solved. This is kind of like the nitty-gritty, like you might need to make a budgeting sheet during this time and kind of track your finances a little bit more carefully. You might need to be more honest with yourself about like where is your energy and where are your resources going right now, and is that the best use of them, or could you be using them in a more effective way? So yeah, so self-care for this one, again, it's not the glamorous stuff, but it's the important stuff. It's really just like taking care of your basic needs. And like, I think it can be really easy to get caught up in like, you know, like at least in like spiritual communities, like people are really focused on like developing and like getting your vibrations higher and like this card is kind of saying like, are you sure your basic needs are met? Like, have you fed yourself today? Have you gotten outside if you can? Have you had a glass of water? You know, this reading is really saying like, go back to the basics and take care of your physical fundamental needs first. So with that in mind, group number 2, prioritize your, for lack of a better word, boring self-care. If this reading resonated with you, please feel free to give a thumbs up, subscribe. Let me know down in the comments what you thought about this, and thank you. I will see you in the next one. All right, hello. So group number 3, if you picked Labradorite, this is your reading. To start, I'm going to lay out your cards. And for your self-care in relation to Mercury retrograde, we start out with the 8 of Wands, and then the Sun, 4 of Wands, and 4 of Swords. Wow, okay, there's a lot of like sunshine energy, which I absolutely love with this reading. I think that this reading is, you know, finding light, finding inner joy, and peace. You know, the wands are all about like, it's related to the element of fire, so it's about action. It's about like making things happen and doing things, but not like in the way of like the pentacles where it's about like making like things happen materially or financially for you, like very practical things. These are things that like feed your soul on a deeper level. And if we can just read left to right, this is all upright. This is like a generally very positive reading, and you might have listened to my spiel at the beginning about Mercury retrograde and thought, things are going great for me right now. Like, I don't need like, like I don't need any self-care tips. Like, my life is going just fine. Like, things are moving forward. I'm, you know, communicating well, relationships and career and life have never been better. You can still use self-care too. So let's dive into your self-care. So the 8 of Wands is about like news and travel and communication. Like, it's very exciting. Like things are looking up with this card. But with this card, I also want to remind you that you don't need to say yes to everything. This sounds counterintuitive. In times of abundance, if you have a scarcity mindset of, you know, I don't have very much, I never get any opportunities, you may feel inclined or obligated to say yes to everything. This card is saying, yes, there are a lot of really good things going for you right now. You like there's success coming. Like, this is incredible. Like, you're going to receive good news or whatever. But this card is also saying, pick and choose. Good things are coming, and you don't need to say yes to everything. And then, of course, we have the Sun, which is like a very like traditionally positive card, like probably one of the most positive in the whole deck. And this is about like, you know, like the self, creativity, expression, like just being at your best, and like, you know, the sun is shining on everything. Like, there's no dark shadows that you need to worry about. Like, everything is great. But the thing about the Sun is that it does burn out sometimes, especially if you say yes to everything. Sometimes there's just not enough hours in the day to do everything. So your form of self-care might look a little bit more like scaling back and understanding that just because you can do something doesn't mean you necessarily should. Next, we have the 4 of Wands, which again is just like creativity, happiness, like things are wonderful, things are blooming. It's really like, you know, it's just tying into these. Like, you have never felt more fulfilled than you do in this moment. Like, you like, yeah, like this reading is just saying like things are going well for me. Like I don't know what I need to do for self-care. Just because things are going well doesn't mean that they're always going to be going well. And especially if you stretch yourself too thin, and in times when you have a lot of stuff, it's easy to say yes to everything, to want to do everything. But the 4 of Swords is about, you know, retreating and rest and reflection. And like, this card I think is the most important in this reading, because these 3 are all saying like, go for it, go out and like do it and be engaged. And I think that can be a form of self-care, is to like, you know, go out and do things and, you know, create art, create music, move your body in a fun and intuitive way, like engage in relationships. Like, this is like saying like, yes, yes, yes. And this card is saying, we have to balance that. You need to have rest as well. Like, if you're going to start working out or dancing more, you need to rest more because your body will be more tired. If you, like, want to say yes to everything, you have a lot of creative energy and you want to just send it all out, you need to rest and allow that energy to recharge. So this reading is definitely like pretty straightforward because there's just like a lot of positive energy. But this is a reminder not to say yes to everything, especially in Mercury retrograde. You don't just want to like go for every opportunity that presents itself because sometimes things aren't always what they seem. And so this reading just wants to remind you, it's really awesome. It is a great feeling when you have all these things coming to you. There's, abundance and growth and creativity and opportunities. This is all great. But if you notice on the Four of Swords, she has the same like yellowy sunshine that's coming from these, but it's coming from a place of rest. And the saying, like, you can't pour from an empty cup. If you are drained and you are saying yes to too many things and you're spreading yourself too thin, your energy too thin, no matter like how much light you have, the sun sets. Like, we need darkness as well. We need some time to rest. So this card is reminding us that rest is important. It's okay to take a nap. It's okay to say no to something. You don't have to do everything just because it's there. And especially with Mercury retrograde, this is a really good time to slow down. So don't feel like you have to say yes to everything. Allow yourself to take a break, to sit back and, rest. All right, pile number 3, this has been your reading. If you liked it, if you resonated with what I said, please feel free to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more content like this, and comment down below and let me know what you thought of this. All right, bye.